So I was, in leading the meditation, I just felt drawn to the body as a sort of place where compassion is important. If you're like me, you probably think of your body as an instrument of your, whatever your mind comes up with to do. It's this thing that kind of interacts with the world, but you kind of always want it to be your servant. So kind of a good body is one that never lets you down, so to speak, one that is always ready to do whatever you have in mind to do. It's easy to neglect it. I mean, it has its ways, if you neglect it, of getting your attention. It wants to be fed, of course. Definitely wants to be fed. It wants to sleep. It has these needs. It has a way of broadcasting these needs. So that's clear. It can take care of itself in that respect. But I sometimes find myself, in this slight, somewhat antagonistic relationship with it when it's in pain, or it's not functioning as I think it should, or that I'm used to it functioning. There's a kind of an impatience that I find. And a kind of reluctance to do the sort of self-care sometimes that it requires, because it takes time. At the same time, I feel, kind of a deep intention to explore a different relationship with it, one that's kinder. And I've recognized how that kindness is something very much of the moment. That how I relate to my body is something immediate. So I've been doing the body scan much more aware of, or not taking for granted, this body, which is aging, and which in some ways needs my attention more, needs my care, needs my kindness more. It's getting a little cranky. And it's sometimes, it's a whole kind of cutting edge of wisdom to know how to relate to it, because in some cases, it actually helps to make it do the thing it's kind of cranky about, to get stronger. I've seen that. I've had some pain in my right hip, and through doing the strength training, it's actually getting better. Pain that was making it hard to drive, making it hard to sit for very long. Even teaching these classes, it was starting to be like painful in one of my legs. And so miraculously, I did what they said to do, and it helped. Who knew? But, it had to go quite a ways before I took steps. And there will be problems that I can't take care of. There will be things that go on in the body that don't have a solution, that are difficult. I think that's potentially a part of aging. A few people kind of get off without much, but most people, there are certain ways that you encounter that you can't heal everything. It's true of the mind too. I happen to be talking about the body, but it's absolutely true of the mind too. Certain things we run up against. And so I'm grateful for the Dharma. I'm grateful for the direction to contemplate the body. The suggestion that this is really important to do, to contemplate the body, to notice what it is, and to notice that it suffers. Suffers, in immediate ways like hunger and tired and so forth. Not just because you're old. Any body kind of has all sorts of dimensions of suffering. To contemplate the body, not just to fix it. Though if you can help it, do. It's certainly a part of compassion. If there's something you can do, do it. But I think on a deeper level, there is a call to just let into your heart that aspect of life which is beyond your control. And the body is often a doorway to that. When we get sick and we feel like we have a lot to do, or it interferes with our idea of what a workday or a weekend is going to look like, or we have to cancel something, there's something important there, something really important there. That kind of loss to our sense of self, our sense of sovereignty, if I can use that word, our sense of being, the one who is in control. And so when we're willing to be touched by these moments of incapacity or suffering, it softens us. It softens us. My sense of the self as an ego is that it really takes pride in being able to give you what you want and to avoid what you don't want. That's its job. That's the definition of an ego's job, is to get you what you want and to avoid what you don't want. And, I can't fault that. In a way, I can't. It's so essential to being a human being that you have a sense of agency and that you have that capacity. But there's the other side. There's the shadow side to that, which is sometimes we suffer when we can't get what we want, or we get what we don't want. And pain is often falls in that category. The body's pain, the sickness, falls in that category of what we don't feel like we can control. And, I think for the most part, when I've been sick, I just kind of like hunker down and get through it. I think that's what most people do. But there is this other aspect of it, this other possibility that the Dharma points out, which is to really contemplate the body, contemplate our fragility, contemplate the way that we don't command it, much as we think we do. We think we command it. But it has its own intelligence. It has its own needs It has its own trajectory. And we are it. We are the body. It's not like it's something inflicted on us, or it's something that is purely our servant of our ego. So this kind of humbling and softening is really important. And to see the human situation clearly, the situation of a body. You know, witnessing my granddaughter, of just how much help she needs as a body, how dependent she is, how much potential suffering there is in that. She wants agency, believe me, and it's beautiful to watch it form. It's beautiful to watch her now walking and so forth, but it's both. It's always both. And it's touching to watch her parents, you know. Obviously, they had some agency in this in bringing this child into the world, but once you bring one into the world, you begin to lose a lot of control, I have to say, over things that are very important to you, which is the welfare of that child. And so there's that, too. Riding around in these steel chariots we have too. It's like, yeah, we put this soft, squishy body in these hard things that sort of protect them and carry them around, but it certainly isn't invulnerable, is it? And that metal can be crunched. I'm grateful for my body worker who seems to know how to make certain things right that go wrong in the body. But again, it's limited. It's limited. You know, and I also notice just how vulnerable my moods are to my body if I'm tired, how easily I get irritable, cranky. If something I've eaten doesn't agree with me, I get a reaction that's not just physical. You know, we put these substances in our body. It's like, don't get me started on sugar, but, you know, people are always offering sugar as this great act of love. When in my body, it's kind of like poison. It doesn't do good things. Alcohol is kind of the same way. And I'm fortunate that way. I don't know that I've ever been tempted by addiction because I've just, you know, it doesn't work very well. You know, the people that it works really well for, that's where you can get into trouble. If it relieves your anxiety or makes you feel good or makes you gregarious when you're shy, all these sorts of things, hasn't been such a good ally for me, and it's often not in the end for them. But anyway, and yet, you know, I have the same craving as anybody else when somebody brings out a good dessert. It isn't like I'm Mr. Ascetic, Mr. Meditative dude who isn't tempted. I am. Again, it's all just riffing on the body, like just being able to contemplate the body, contemplate its vulnerability, contemplate the way you have sugar one day and the next day it wants more. You know, it's asking for more. And I don't really have a conclusion to this talk. I don't really have a place where I'm trying to get you all to. It's just reflections I want to share. that were with me through the week, and dairy doesn't do well with me, and I had some, and the eye sockets ache, and fortunately I didn't get the slightly depressed feeling that often goes with it, which I suspect is brain inflammation, so forth. Not everybody's body is quite so sensitive. But for me, it has been really important. Maybe I'll just stop there. Don't have a clear conclusion. I think I've said what I need to say.